boys and girls, you know I don't like the Mondays because you know why? That starts our damn work week. But it also gives us a chance to talk to some talent after the workday on a Monday. So this is Stir the Pot with Dr. Cade and my very special guest tonight, Drew Dillinger. Welcome to the show, my man. I appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me, Bubba.
Hey, absolutely. Now, I kind of want to start right off the ripper here with this one because we've never met. We've never spoken. We don't even know each other. We've met through a mutual friend being the lovely Ms. Cindy Hart. She kind of connected us here. I'm NCT, and if I'm not mistaken, aren't you across the country a little bit?
Yeah, I'm typically in the Indiana, Kentucky, Illinois area.
Okay, all right. Now, this is kind of different for me by a mutual friend hooking me up, but usually it's with a talent in my area that maybe I couldn't get, or maybe they knew that I didn't ask or whatever. So this is a little different because we're grasping somebody from across the country. So I do want to give you a disclaimer before we get too far, though. I don't write a fucking thing down, my man. So we just kind of go like all willy-nilly. The time frame could start from the beginning or the end. You never know what we're gonna do. We just kind of pull the curtain back a little bit and have fun and let the talent get to tell their stories a little bit. Because this isn't my show. This is a show for the fans, if you will.
Yeah.
So I want to start right off with the ripper here. I noticed you have. Was there a shiny championship that you're in possession of?
Oh, yeah, there was. I feel like that would have been smart of me to prepare that, but you give me 1 second.
Oh, yeah, please.
I can flex a little bit. I flex a little bit.
Yeah, man, that's what we want. We want to be able to present the championships that represent the promotions, especially promotions that aren't in our area, and we get to have the fans learn more about. So we get on the old keyboards and type up said promotion. And if you guys don't know Drew Dillinger, as I don't, type him up, check him out, see what he's got going on over on his social medias. Ooh, he's bringing back the gold. That's what we like. Yes.
Right there. That's the purple and platinum Generation Next Pro Wrestling, Cynthiana, Kentucky, right here.
Wow. That is something else. That's a unique championship, I might say, my friend.
Yeah. You get a nice view of my Christmas tree and the reflection on it there, but yes,
wow, that's pretty cool, man. How long have you been holding that championship for?
I won it in October. I took it off the hands of a Victor Vargas, the Appalachian headhunter.
It sounds dangerous. So I'm going to assume, are you a face in what you do in wrestling, or are you a heel?
A lot of people just like to call me a monster. I go out there, I get mad, I beat on some people. Sometimes I take this home. That's how I play.
Okay, and you're not the first guy to answer in such manner, because sometimes the talent, they don't go on the face or the heel. They just go out there. They have tunnel vision of, I'm going to kill somebody and I'm going to take gold. If you're in my way, you're the victim. So I can get that, you know. I'm picking up what you're putting down, my man. Now, that championship, what does that exactly represent? Does it the big championship? Does it represent a weight class, or where are we at with this thing?
Yeah, this is the title for the show. It's the heavyweight championship. I think they were talking about putting together some belts for the tag team division, but right now this is the company's pride and joy, and it's mine.
How many champions have been in the history of holding that belt? Do you know offhand by any chance?
To my knowledge, Victor Vargas was the inaugural, and here it is.
Wow. So you get to be part of a very early history in this title reign. I love me a long title reign. I love me some storyline. I love me some character. You give me all of that with some good in-ring stuff. You got me sold, my man. You're talking about being a monster and hurting people, taking the gold. So you would classify yourselves as a brawler if you had to classify yourself in the wrestling categories?
You might say that. I feel like I have the most fun And the easiest night when they throw me out there and they say go out there and have a hoss fight, and then I know exactly what they want and we throw down.
Now, I was looking at some of your, I stalk the pages every so. I mean, I follow the pages, and I kind of try to gather a little bit of information. I don't do research because I'm a jackass, but at least I'll poke around a little bit. But I did notice, you got some decent gear. You're looking professional. You're not looking half-assed or nothing like that. You take pride in your craft. From the visual. I did notice though, we were chit-chatting. You had a big match, and I really wanted to kind of dig into this. And I know it's probably too early into this, but I've been wanting to talk to you about this since we've chatted. The gear that you're showing on the medias, you were kind of looking for something new in the waiting because you had a big match coming up against none other than Rhino, if I'm not mistaken. Is that correct, my friend?
Yes, sir. War Machine.
Now, this gear, did it make it before game time with this thing with Rhino?
It unfortunately did not. I have it now, and it will debut on the January 15th, the debut of season 2, Generation Next TV, against Crazy Steve from Decay and Impact.
From Crazy Steve. Okay. These title defenses, they're bringing in these well-known names that we've seen in the past that are still very active in the indie scene. I guess you've got some pretty decent in-ring skill. You must have a great character because you're holding that gold and you're going against these kind of names. This company must have a lot of trust in their champion right now, I would say.
I guess they just like what they see. They tell me to go out there, put hands on somebody, and I still got this, baby.
Now, you've gone through the likes of Rhino already. That's been very recently. Was that this past weekend?
Yes, it was the weekend before last, but yes.
Okay. Now, could you please describe, because I'm just going to say, I'm not an athlete. I mean, I'm built like a candle. We all know that. I mean, I'm not getting in that ring and trying to, that's a different story, but we won't talk about that. But could you please talk to us, the fans, because we don't know what it's like when it's coming to game time, and you're right around the corner from defending your title against the likes of a guy like Rhino. I mean, we're talking, this guy is no slouch. He's been through all of the big companies. He's tag teamed with a ton of big names. He's held plenty of gold himself, and he's coming in as your next challenger for your gold. Could you kind of talk to us a little bit about that day? Are you doing any different kind of prep? Are you doing anything a little bit different? Are you just going through the day normally?
I definitely did step up the gym routine, up the reps, up the weights, was hitting that elliptical, getting the running in. Because, I mean, we all started somewhere. I was a fan, late 90s, early 2000s. Like, when it came to the spear, I didn't acknowledge the spear. It was the gore, it was Rhino. And then here we are. I promised to gore him. Didn't happen, but he said he might be coming back with a friend since things kind of got a little unruly in the match.
So a big fan, obviously, of Rhino coming up as a fan. So it's kind of full circle in your life, and as a wrestler in your career, to go against a guy like Rhino. When you're looking across from Rhino, or if you're, instead of getting that far, when you're in the back in the locker room with a guy like Rhino, do you guys and girls, do you feel yourself get starstruck at all? Or I don't like to use the word, Mark. I think it's ridiculous, but do you guys get a little bit of starstruck back there?
Honestly, I feel like I contained myself a lot better than I was expecting. Okay. I think it was just the pressure of the situation. Like, I just got this. I'm not ready to lose this. I'm trying to get the whole show looking good, not just myself. So I was there to do business, and then after the match, it was like, I don't know which was more surreal, that I had the match or now that the match is over, because that is a thing that I just did. I just pinned Rhino.
Oh, so you got a pin. You got the 1, 2, 3 on Rhino.
There, I got that 1, 2, 3.
Now that's even got to be a little bit more in the old confidence basket, because I mean, to get a pin on a guy like Rhino in your company for the gold, I mean, man, it kind of almost don't get no better on that one. That's pretty good stuff.
For the home team,
Now you're talking that he's going to bring friends. Why did we end in controversy of some kind? Take us through that. What's going on?
well, from what I saw, what I felt, he hit me with the gore. I kicked out. I got up, saw there was no ref. Keep this by any means. Yes, sir. ECW, he's the last ECW champion. I feel like it's only fair. He hit me with a Pepsi can earlier in the match, so I think eye for an eye is pretty level. And I got the 1, 2, 3, but then as I'm in the back, apparently somebody who I may or may not have used to have ties with, they're saying he interfered with the ref, but I had just got gored. I didn't see nothing. All I know is I pinned Rhino, and apparently he's bringing a friend back.
Now, did the ref officially count the 1, 2, 3?
Yeah, there was a ref, a 1, a 2, a 3. I took my belt to the back. I was gone. Next thing I know, I'm hearing something. Rhino on the microphone, champ, we're coming for you. So
Wow.
I guess we'll see.
Do you have any idea who we could be? I mean, it could be a million different people, right?
It really could be. I know on the Generation Next Facebook page, when they went over that situation, they posted a picture of him and Heath Slater. So I don't know if that's like trying to play mind games with me, or if it's an actual advertisement, or what they're doing. But
Well, I mean, Heath Slater, he's got kids. I mean, he's got work to do.
Yeah.
Wow. Being it, and back to the starstruck or not thing, you find yourself almost feeling as one, he's my peer. I'm in the back. I got a job to do. He's in the back. He's got a job to do. It's more or less of a peer scenario, if you will, back there at that point. Don't you think?
I feel like you could say that.
Now, the company that you're working for right now, is this the main company that you work for, or do you travel around to other promotions? What do you got going on?
So like most everyone, COVID definitely changed the landscape of everything. Which that year actually kind of wound up being a kind of a double whammy for me, because the year before I had actually broke my leg in a match, and I was out for 6 months on the dot. I did everything I could to get back to the pace that I was at, doing 5 or 6 shows a week. And just as I was getting back to that full speed, that's when COVID started shutting everything down. So I do have places that I did frequent all the time. As we're rolling into the next year, my calendar is going to be a lot more open. Just going to get back into the groove of this, get back on the saddle, see if I can bring a few more of these home.
Awesome. Could you please repeat to us the company that championship it represents?
Generation Next Pro Wrestling. It's going to be running mainly out of Cynthiana and Maysville, Kentucky this year, or this coming year.
Indoor venues, outdoor stuff. How do they do their setups?
Indoor. The Cynthiana show is at the Town Hall Public Gym. It's indoor, and then the Maysville is going to be at the Maysville Brewing Company, so also indoor.
Wrestling and beer. I mean, come on, man.
Wrestling, beer. Got some beer. Gonna fight Crazy Steve. It's gonna be a good night.
Oh, that's where you're fighting Crazy Steve? Is that the brewery?
Yes, sir.
Oh man. that's going to be a barn burner, as JR would say. Um, now I did kind of stalk your face page a little bit, but I don't see a lot of media. You know, going against these guys like Rhino, going against these guys like Crazy Steve and whatnot. Uh, you know, I say, just me, my opinion as a fan. If we see a little bit more, we get to grasp
Mhm.
onto that stuff and share it and kind of spread that love around and network with the fans and other
Yep.
wrestlers from different areas would see that and so forth, and it kind of starts blossoming a little bit. So whenever that footage is, the footage out anywhere? Can we find this stuff, you against Rhino?
The match with Rhino, I haven't gotten anything back yet, but as soon as like I can get my hands on files, there's going to be clips, like teaser clips, and then you
Okay.
can watch the match here. Similar to how I was doing stuff leading up to that match, where like yeah, I promised that I was going to gore him, so I spent a couple weeks just showing like all of my gores throughout the last year. Like Rhino, I'm coming for you.
uh, the promo portion, because it's a great tool for in that toolbox to be a wrestler. Promos, do they come easy for you? Do you feel comfortable doing promos?
Most of the time, yeah. Sometimes I'll kind of get a bullet point of what I want to get across, and other times, like I'll just get in front of the camera and start yelling and talking shit. So just
When you're
sometimes,
doing these,
some,
okay, uh, when you're doing promos, I know some wrestlers, they kind of want them a little more polished, or they'll do 2, 3, 4 takes, maybe even more, all depending on what's going on. Do you find yourself just turning that on, putting it out there, getting it done in one shot, and sending it off?
that is usually the goal. That is usually what I like to do. But then if I do watch it back and like something snags or it just jags the whole flow of it, then I'll start over. But that's usually pretty rare, and I like to just say my piece. I said it. There it is. Send it.
Do you have any specific taglines or monikers or sayings that you have around your character, Drew Dillinger?
I am the ghost maker.
Oh,
I am the hate child, not the love child, the hate child of the unstoppable force in the immovable object.
oh,
And
uh,
I didn't choose violence. Violence chose me.
wow. Uh, where did these stem from? From a twisted Drew Dillinger? From maybe people that surrounds Drew Dillinger? Where did these things kind of come about?
Kind of a twisted Drew Dillinger. Kind of. A couple of them are from a few years ago. Polishing up my training. Really, just throwing noodles at the wall, seeing what sticks,
Hmm.
what rolls off the tongue, and then what makes people be like, oh no, he's actually gonna hurt somebody. This is not good.
And that's exactly what you're looking for right there, my man. Connecting with the fans, that's another tool in that toolbox. And it's one of the hardest ones. It doesn't matter if you're trying to be the good guy or bad guy. Working your way through your career, did you find it was a little tough for you to kind of gain that essence with the fans, or did it start coming naturally pretty quickly for you?
Um, I want to say early on because I actually started in 2011. Early on, it was kind of hard trying to figure out what would flow. Like I was saying, just throwing wet spaghetti at the wall, seeing what sticks. But then eventually, I just found my flow of like I noticed people started saying that I move pretty big, pretty good for a big guy. So I try and bust out some of the agility, but then again, that's how I wound up breaking my legs. So as the years have gone on, you get a little smarter with it, you know.
Uh, at that point, you just kind of touched on a very, very hot topic. Not in the scene, but I feel you don't have to do all of this crazy stuff you can always be able to do it, but you don't have to do it, if you will. You know, and kind of finding out the hard way. Can you kind of take us through that injury? I know we're going all over the place, the timeline and all of this stuff, but could you talk to us about this injury? What happened that kind of occurred here?
So it was a scramble match at IWA Mid-South. It was me, like 5 other people actually in the match, and then 2 people that were ringside with me. And pace was kind of picking up because the gravity of the situation, like, we need to start knocking some people down if anyone wants to win. And I just got the itch. I climb up top and I see all of everyone down on the ground out ringside. So at that point in time, my 450-pound ass comes off that top rope down to the floor with everyone. And just instinctually, I saw that I might not have made it if I stretched out. So instinctually, my body just put my feet down. So I jumped from the top rope and landed into kind of like a double clothesline where I landed on my feet.
Oh, wow.
Landed on my feet. I heard 3 pops. The 2 feet hitting the floor and then my leg just shattering. So I'm laying there. I'm sitting there. I actually try to get up. It doesn't happen. The ref comes over to me and he's like, "You good?" I just look him dead and it's broke.
Wow.
And so that turned into a long night very quickly.
Is that the first major injury in your career?
It was the most major. In 2015, I wound up suffering a class 3 AC separation. So basically, the cartilage that holds your collarbone in place, I don't have that in my right shoulder anymore.
I've asked this question before, and I'm going to ask it again. Why? Why do we do? Not me. Why do you guys and girls? Never mind the sacrifices at home when it comes to family functions, seeing the kids do a play or whatever you got going on in real life. Okay, put all of that aside, and those sacrifices are they pile up real quick. But why do you guys and girls, you go through separation of ligaments, you go through broken bones, you go through all sorts of crazy stuff, and your first instinct is to hurry up, get better, to get back in that ring? Why? Is my question.
Um, I I think it's like a lot of things. Like you have to do it to get it. But in my life, I know personally, everything has always it always comes back to wrestling. Like being a kid, having an awful day at school, what do? You come home, you slam out your homework. So at 6 o'clock, you can park in front of the TV, you watch wrestling. Like that's your life. And then like once you get out there and you start doing it, it's just like, I don't know, people ride motorcycles. If they lay their bike down and they skid like a whole quarter of a mile, they're still going to get on their bike because that's what they do. That's who they are. And it's just everything in my life has always come back to wrestling. So I always wind up coming back. It's just, it is what it is, I guess. It's the love and the passion.
That's going to be the title. I like to name every episode differently. It's the love and the passion. That's it. That's the title of this episode right here with Mr. Drew Dillinger. So you have this injury with a broken leg. Now you come back. You said you were only gone for 6 months after a broken leg.
Mm-hmm.
I feel that's a big accomplishment because if I break my leg, I am definitely
Yeah.
not coming back in 6 months. There ain't no way. Athletes, boys and girls, athletes, performers, in ring, these guys and girls. I'll say it. I've said it before, and I'll say it again. They're a different breed. You cannot just walk in and think you could become a wrestler. You have to have it here. And the physical is something else. If you don't have it here and the want to do it, and I'm not talking like I'm a fucking wrestler by any stretch, but this is what I get from these guys and girls. If you don't have the want upstairs and you don't have that strength to persevere through all of these sacrifices with your family, the sacrifices that you go physically, the sacrifices you go through mentally, then don't even start, because you can just watch this shit on TV and be like, I want to be a wrestler. But if you're not really like want to commit your life to it, there's no way you should want to get into it, because a lot of guys and girls, they just end up winding up like legitimately hurting themselves or the person that they're working with across the ring. So again, just my opinion and what I've taken from these interviews and speaking with the talents at the different shows. Without that want and that passion up here, like I said, the question why, my man is just like, it's wrestling. It is what it is. Now kind of let's swing back to the beginning, because we were talking leading up to this Rhino match that you were going to have some new gear. And that seems to me that you're almost kind of evolving. May it be gear, may it be your character's name, may it be the way you speak to the fans, may it be your music. Just these little things. That's all part of the evolution of a character. Let's go back to the beginning though. Are you Drew Dillinger from the start all the way up to where we are now?
For all intents and purposes, yeah.
Okay.
I did kind of I started out with another name that only lasted a little bit. When I first started training, I wanted to call myself Landon Manson, just because at that point in time where I was coming into wrestling, trying to do kind of a crazy gimmick, I feel like by 2011, this is why it only lasted maybe a year. I feel like having a crazy gimmick and calling yourself Manson by the time it's 2011, like, okay, you're 20, 25 years late on that. Find something else, man.
And then that transitioned into Drew Dillinger, or did you have anything in between that?
It was pretty smooth. I really just got rid of a pair of tights that I had a big old M on, and really started focusing on my in-ring work, just actually getting to it and getting trained right at that point.
Mm-hmm. Very well spoken on that. Getting trained. Talk to us about that. We like to learn. Was there a school, or did you learn from a friend, or like how did you get into this and be properly trained? Who brought you in and brought you up?
So like the first like breaking in when I was mentioning as Landon Manson, a friend of a friend, manager at a job punching the clock for Christmas, got me in. I did a couple shows. That I mean, I feel like it was what it was, but I didn't have any business being in the ring yet. Not really trained through proper channels. But after the name change and the breaking the shoulder, like I was just like, if I'm going to do this, I need to take this seriously. I need to get this right. So I started working and studying places like Grindhouse Pro Wrestling, which is ran by Too Tough Tony in Jeffersonville, Indiana. Doing work for IWA Mid South, and then just doing seminars on the road, trying to pick every brain that you can. It really really helps. And now doing Generation Next, studying under those learning trees, It's it's been a long process, but I feel like it's finally paying off, and I'm able to do it justice.
And taking these experiences from XXX and putting them all together at this point in your career, it seems like you're in a good place right now.
I would agree with that.
Now, the Kentucky area, because wrestling is probably the most flourishing than it's ever been in its entire existence. In the Kentucky area, is there a lot of wrestling around there that you can, work or, get work from and such, and the fans can check out?
Yeah, like the Kentucky area, you have places like OVW and WWA. I don't work with them. I just know they're there. They are other bigger brands. Um, but as far as like Kentucky wrestling goes, like I'm with the Generation Next Pro Wrestling.
All right.
There's some good things in the works, and I just have a really good feeling about it. The Southern Indiana area, you still have Grindhouse Pro Wrestling, you still have IWA Mid South. You have places like Paradigm Pro Wrestling that do a lot of UWFI rules. They're going to be doing a stroke benefit show next month that I will also be a part of. It's going to holds a serious place with me for that benefit show, just because the dude is great guy, always puts everyone else before him. Anytime he runs shows, it's other benefit shows. And actually, just last week, my mom also had a stroke. So there are a lot of feelings going into this show, and it's kind of a big deal for me right now.
Sending all the good vibes as much as possible, my man. Sorry to hear all of that. My grandma's been through a few of those, and they are not pretty, and it's tough to work through. So I'm with you, my man. Sending all those good vibes. Now, growing up in the wrestling, what are you watching as a fan? Is it the WWE, WCW? Where are you at the East? Well, obviously we've mentioned ECW, but what's your go-to when you were growing up?
When I was growing up before YouTube, we didn't have any money. We only had cable 1 year because when we moved into the apartment that we were in, the management before we moved in included cable, but the management that owned the property when we moved in didn't. But one of our neighbors figured out that they never turned off the box, so we just had cable for like a year until they smartened up. So until there was YouTube and until there was like going to video stores, a lot of it was WWE.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, obviously, you've talked that you're a bigger guy. Are you looking at the bigger guys for inspiration? Are you looking at the smaller guys? Who's kind of catching your eye to be like, you know what, this is what I want to do, man?
I honestly look at a little bit of everyone to try and see what I can blend, what works, what would like. Even sometimes some of the stuff that the little guys do, like if I do that to someone, that's definitely gonna get some results.
But that's the thing in wrestling, though. I've always said it, and I will always say it forever and ever. We, the fans, are so damn easy. If a bigger guy does something that he's just not supposed to do in the ring, we lose our damn minds and we soak that in. And those are one of those memories that we take home with us. Driving home, I talk about the memories a lot, driving home from the shows, and vice versa. When the talent are driving home and be like, man, did you hear those guys when I did, when I just did this? But Your smile says it all. These memories that we take from wrestling, my man, there's nothing like it. And they always stick with you way, way, way down the road. And that's what I really love about wrestling. I go to most of the shows with my pop, and and we have a lot of good times. Uh, I, I like to go to shows and I like to lift the good guys and I like to boo the piss out of the bad guys. And we have a lot of fun. And I find myself in some sticky situations when it comes to the bad guys, and my dad absolutely loves my demise. I don't know why. And he will even point me out. Hey, you forgot my son. Here he is. And I'll be like, you son of a bitch. So we have, we have a lot of fun, man. But my point being is the memories that we take both as fans and talent when we go our separate ways to our homes, it's the same but different, and it's all surrounding wrestling, and that's one of the things I really love about that stuff. Which kind of brings me to, I always like to try to pull a little something out of the talent. It could be illegal. It doesn't matter. It's up to you. It could be legal. It could be whimsical. It could be whatever. There has to be a road story that you can share with the fans, because you guys and girls, you're on the road, you're going here, you're going there, you're meeting all of these new people in the locker rooms, you're taking all of these experiences. There's got to be one cool, funny, some kind of road story that you can share with us, the fans, at all possible. Is there one you can maybe give us?
I do have a story I could share, just because it involves Tracy Smothers.
Okay.
And he's kind of a grandfather pretty much all the boys, all the girls. Like if there was anything to take out these last couple years, is everybody needs to be just a little bit more like Tracy. Great guy, can't stop singing his praises. But it was earlier on in my career, maybe 2014, 2015. He's holding like a weekend training camp. I kind of get invited last minute. So me and the guy that's driving me up there, we're going up, and I know that we're not going to get there until like 11. So in my head, I'm like, okay, this is going to be, we're going to get there, crash, get started in the morning. So as we're riding up, like, driver's sober, but like I'm taking a couple shots, kind of partying up, the whole drive there, starting to while out. And we get there, and as we're starting to walk in the door, I can hear the ring in the back, and I'm like, I'm already in trouble. I'm already in trouble. So then we get in there and, shaking hands, meeting everyone. And Tracy's like, oh, hey, Drew, good to see you again. Come on up. You want to hop up in this ring and show some of these kids, like, lock up and, wrestle around a little bit. And I'm not going to tell Tracy Smothers, no, I'm not going to get in the ring with you. But I had no business stepping into that ring. So then when we go to lock up, one, I grab him with the wrong hand, and then I trip over my own feet and kind of just fall into him. And he kind of helps me stand back up, and he just looks at me and goes, well, Drew, what the fuck was that? And I'm like, I'm so sorry, just one more try, one more try. He was like, no, go sit down.
Excuse me. Tracy Smothers, one of the most respected guys in the industry ever. I mean, like you said, you can't even praise that guy enough for what he's given, not for what he's done, but and given back for the industry. It's just you
Never
can't even
stop
say
giving
enough.
back.
Absolutely. Thank you for sharing that story. A Tracy Smothers story. See, that's what happens when I ask this question. I would have never guessed I was going to get me a Tracy Smothers story tonight. That was absolutely beautiful. Thank you for sharing. Now, the landscape, especially post, if you will, if you can call it post-COVID, pre-COVID, post-COVID is kind of so weird nowadays. Yeah, but it is. But especially post-COVID, wrestling has really changed compared to pre-COVID, if you will. Everything has changed. But wrestling, what we're kind of speaking on, wrestling has changed quite dramatically. But then it started coming back to some normal ways. The arenas were filling up again, and you know, this whole thing between AEW and WWE is going on right now. And where do you find yourself? Well, actually, I should start here. Do you actually watch the current product nowadays? Because not all wrestlers watch wrestling. And look at you laugh. I can almost imagine what this is.
Well, you had already said it. I was about to say no, I don't watch the product, but honestly, when I get a chance, I do watch. When there's stuff that'll like that kind of draws the younger wrestling fan in me. You know, like Punk coming back. Just seeing. I saw a picture today, so now I'm gonna have to watch an episode of Raw or something. They got Lesnar coming out in overalls or something. I don't know what's going on with that. I'm gonna have to check that out. But um, typically when I'm watching wrestling now, it's because I'm getting my cardio in, and I'm either watching my tapes to see what I can do better, watching someone I'm about to wrestle to see what they do,
Okay.
or if I'm trying to like figure out something new to do or to make my own or just try and just study the game, like I'll pull up matches on YouTube, but typically I'm not like just sitting down to watch an event one day every week or anything like that.
Hey, definitely you are not the only one. I was very surprised when I would pose this question. First off, when I ever got the very first no, and I'm like, wait, you don't watch wrestling? That just seems so odd to me. But as time has gone on, and again, as I've networked friendships, relationships with wrestlers at these events and outside of the ring and whatnot, and speaking with talent as yourself on these interviews, it's more of a common answer than I ever would have expected for a few reasons. Um, now, right now we have this AEW WWE thing going on, if you will, the war, if any, that would be the one. But what I do find interesting is when AEW brought that whole AEW Dark thing to light. It's on their YouTube
Mm-hmm.
channel. They were doing it on Tuesday nights, then they extended it, and now they do the Elevation on Monday nights on the YouTube channel. But I found it so very interesting because you had the NXT Performance Center gaining all of these talents. They would bring them in classes of X amount or whatever. And we would see some of our friends that we know on the indie scene, and we'd be like, hey, hell yeah, that's what you want, man. You know, we're giving them praise. We're lifting them up. We're wishing them success. But then AEW comes around. Then when they started that dark thing, it's obviously not the same because they want to be different. But it's pretty cool because now we get to see a lot of our friends that are on the indie scene not only get called up a little bit, but we get to see them on a regular basis. And especially if AEW is interested and they do these returns on the darks and whatnot. I know you're well aware of that situation with the AEW dark setup. Are you digging that because of how we can see so much indie talent visually on their channel and whatnot?
Yeah, I'm loving it. I'm hoping eyes start wandering over this way here soon, but like it's great. You know, everyone's getting their exposure out there. Everyone's getting a chance to cement their name. Like when AEW Dark rolled through Indiana, Lord Crew was on there, and then that weekend he actually came down to Gen X Pro Wrestling and got in that ultimate opportunity ladder match. So he went from AEW Dark to the card over with me on Gen X.
But I think that's the coolest thing for the fans specifically. Well, no, not even just the fans, because the guys and girls in the locker room too. It's like you get to even talk to them about their experience and gain maybe even a smidge experience on your own by seeing how it went for them, or again, praising them up. Hey man, congratulations! I bet it was a killer time and blah blah blah, and you open up conversation about it. So seeing these talents being on those shows, I think it's good for the fans. it's good for the company and it's good for the talent all around. And I'm just going to kind of pick out a guy, if I might, from my area. He was formerly known as Robo the Punjabi Lion. And now he's Jorah Jal, and he's been hanging out with Matt Hardy and company for quite some time now. He's been in that mix. But whenever he got picked up, I knew instantly, because I've known him for so long, because of his charisma, his personality, how he acts, and how he in the back in the locker room, and how he performs in ring. Very professional all around. I knew as soon as he walked through those doors, they were going to absolutely love him and give him something to sign. And sure than shit, my man George Jall signed right on the dotted line, and he's been there ever since. And every time I see him at an indie show, Test of Strength has him around here in my area in Connecticut. Specifically, I love that dude to pieces. He's such a great human, and those are the kind of things we like to see with the talent. And that's pretty much kind of why I bring that all up. The wrestlers alike as the fans, we like to see those talents really get lifted up into those different platforms. Now, kind of in a full circle here with what we're talking about, is that something that Drew Dillinger is looking to get, is up on these higher platforms, maybe the Dub or AEW or New Japan or something like that? Or are you comfortable being on the indie scene? Where are you at in your career right now?
So for the longest time, especially like how you were talking about, like NXT starting to, like, the Performance Center came out, started scooping everybody up, this and that. I did have goals that, and I was probably being a little dramatic, but I started telling myself, like, if I don't get an NXT call by 2020, like, I need to shut it down, like this and that. But then by the year 2020, like, I had had the broken leg and come back, and I'm like, there's no reason to stop. What was I even talking about? But like, yeah, now going forward, like, I've still got gas in the tank. I still got rungs to climb. Let's see. I know what I like doing. I know where I would love to be. So we're just gonna see how much further this takes me, what happens, and take it as it comes.
So you've been in the game for about a decade. That's fair to say right now, correct?
Yeah, just about. Yeah.
Are you feeling that you're probably in the best form, if you will, in your career, or where you at? How are you thinking you're sitting right now?
Body wise, I've probably been in better shape, but I'm catching up to that really quick. Okay. Between breaking the leg and then COVID, like, I blew all the way up to, like I was saying, like 450. I'm down to 304 now. But
holy shit, my man! I mean, that's a big congratulations.
Wow. There's still more to go. I'm at the point now trying to convert the fat into muscle, trying to get more strong. But
that is a major transformation. I got to go right into that, because working through your career, and obviously you said the broken leg, the COVID, it fucked everything. It hits here first before it hits anywhere else. I get that. But to make this transformation, I mean, obviously you got to be solid here to fix this. So you get your upstairs corrected, you fix that, you start transforming your body. Now getting back in the ring and losing 150 fucking pounds, dude. You've got to kind of rearrange how you're moving, how you're coming at the ropes, and how you're rolling, and all of this stuff. Could you kind of talk to us a little bit about that? Because I mean, that's just fucking mind altering, man.
I understand how you're asking that, but realistically, not too much changed about how I move, except for how much I can move now, if that makes sense. Basically, all of the, like, blow up drills and the exercises and everything that you learn and you pick up in training is so, like, if you're out there in a situation where you've been out there forever and you're just completely blown up and you're exhausted, or then in my case, like, you just grind yourself into horrible shape, like, you get out there and your body's on autopilot. You know how to move, you know what to do. You get out there and you go and your body does it. You might get to the back after the match and suck wind for an hour, but you get out there and your body does the work. So my footwork has gotten better. I'm able to land without breaking things a little better. But overall, not a lot has changed, if that makes
Okay.
sense.
No, that makes perfect sense because uh, when a big guy, and I've spoken to big guys that really lose a crazy amount of weight, the big guy stuff never goes away. It's just a
Yep.
matter of, like you're saying, the cardio and transforming the body fat that you're losing into muscle and changing your physical being. I mean, period. I mean, that's just amazing. Again, congratulations, brother. I mean, for real, that's some cool stuff right there. Now, this shiny belt that you have been holding very dearly through this whole interview, you seem very proud. Is this one of your first championships? I know you've been in the game for about a decade. Is this one of your first championships, or what have you had for accolades here?
This is my first main event heavyweight title. I have won tag titles elsewhere. I have won the mid card elsewhere, but
Okay.
this is also the first one that they've trusted me enough to let me take the belt home and not throw it on the ring truck with the ring till the next show. So there definitely is a certain level of pride and accomplishment, and
Well,
it's still
again,
real to me. Damn it!
it's still real to me, damn it. No,
That
congratulations because obviously we've just met, but congratulations on the winning of the championship and defending it and still keeping it and going against the likes of of Rhino, and now you've got Crazy Steve coming up, and I mean, congrats on all of that, man. And you're looking good with the belt. You've got a fantastic smile when you speak of wrestling, when you speak of the company, when you speak of that beautiful championship. Um, you're still a fan. That's very evident, and that's something that I can appreciate from fan to wrestler. If you lose that fandom, my man, it doesn't really. You know what I'm saying? You lose something if you don't have that
mhm.
fandom with you, and I can still tell you're a fan.
Thank you.
Uh, I like to talk about support system, if I may, before I let you go, because surrounding a singles wrestler, may it be your spouse, a sibling, or a child, or whatever, you kind of need a support system around you. Did you find trying to become, because again, you've been in the game for 10 years, um, was it hard to find a support system? I mean, you're going to do that wrestling shit, really? Or did you have some decent support behind you getting into it and up to where we are now?
There's it's been kind of 50-50. There's definitely been people come in and out of my life, like, really, that's the F word, right? Like, hold on. Does that look like a collarbone right there to you? Like,
God.
okay. But then there's been then I definitely do have I have a really good support system. The people that have stuck by, the people that were like, I'm not sure, but if it takes off, I'm happy for you. And then, they've all come around. It's like I was saying earlier, it always comes back to wrestling. So now, like, it's time for me to put it into wrestling because it's always coming back to it.
I love everything that you've given us. You're wrestling smart. You're a champion, and you're representing a company proudly. And I can't wait to see what the and I mean, I know I've repeated myself saying 10 years, but my man's got gas in the tank, so I can't wait to see what the future brings. Our new friend here, Drew Dillinger. Now, before we do let you go, where can we find you on the face page and the Twitter and all of that good stuff? YouTube or whatever, anything you want to promote. If there's an event you got coming up, we've already spoken of. Please reintroduce us to that. Promote anything you want. The forum is yours, my man.
Absolutely. We've got the season 2 premiere of Gen X TV, Maysville, Kentucky, the Brewing Company, January 15th. Tickets are $15. This is going to be the TV taping. So this will wind up on Generation X Pro Wrestling YouTube. It will be leading up to a February 5th live show. But if you want me to run down this card for the TV taping, we've got Henry Shaw versus Gary Gandy. We have the hybrid monster Zodiac versus the Great 747. We have Cynthiana, Kentucky's own Kellen Craven versus Impact, former Impact Jake Christ. Let's see. We have Maysville's own Matt Atreya versus an up and coming. I think he's just starting to push 2 years in, but he's really out there grinding. He's making the drives. He's making the seminars. Gaston LaRue.
Okay.
And then you also have J Money versus Brawler Morrison. There's going to be an appearance from Everything Legendary, which is Max Sled and Impact's Larry D. And then you have the other half of Outlast with Kellen Craven. You have Jake Torrance versus Austin Carte. And then you have myself and Crazy Steve in the main event.
Now, I did not keep count, but I'm going to take a guess. There's at least 8 matches on that card. That sounds like a hell of a card that you guys are putting on, my man.
Yes, sir. It's going to be TV tapings. I believe it's going to get put up a couple matches a week all the way leading up to that February 5th show.
Well, I'm going to have to get on the old YouTube and type in the Next China and find that on the YouTube. My man, I cannot wait. See, again, I don't do research. I kind of wait after the fact, and then I feel even a little bit, I pop a little bit more because now that I've talked to Drew and then I go look at the footage, I'm like, holy shit. But that gives us for something to look forward to because maybe we can have a return of Drew Dillinger 6 months down the road or something and see where he's at in his career. See if he's still holding that beautiful championship. Yeah, that would be awesome. Hey, and I'm sure you'd say, hey, I am going to have that beautiful championship. So
that's the plan. That's the plan, sir.
Drew, thank you so much for taking the time. Everybody's got a lot of shit going on. So thank you so much for taking the time out and talking to us, the fans. I do appreciate it, my friend.
Thank you for having me on. It's been good.
Absolutely. And without the connection of our mutual friend, Miss Cindy Hart, this would have never happened. So thank you, Miss Cindy Hart. I appreciate that connection. With everything, man, did we fit in a lot of stuff in 1 hour, my man. Let me tell you. With all of that said, this is Turn the Pot with Don Kincaid and my very special guest and our very new friend, Drew Dillinger. Thanks again, my friend.
Thank you.